Okay, so Game of Thrones Season 8's come and gone, right? The Iron Throne has been filled this time by, spoiler alert, Bran. Not everyone out there loves it. I personally am not the biggest fan of that. But when it comes to Season 8 as a whole, yeah, I am. I might be the only person in the world who defends Game of Thrones Season 8, but I do enjoy it, and I felt that it was pretty good, and we can always have the discussions and the debates over the finer topics, the finer reasons as to why that is somewhere down the road. But today, we got the Emmy nominations, and Game of Thrones walked away with 32 Emmy nominations. 32 Emmy noms this particular show got. I still am trying to wrap my head around there being 32 damn categories in that particular award show, but it did. It got nominated for the most ever, even beating out the former leader NYPD Blue. And if you look at who is getting nominated, it does kind of feel like the Emmys are just like doling it out, you know? They're like, you get an Emmy nom, you get an Emmy nom, you get it, everyone gets Emmy noms. It's Oprah, but the Emmys. But in essence, I think it's deserving. I'm not going to lie. I think that Game of Thrones getting nominated for this many Emmys is 100% deserving. I think that they've worked their ass off over the span of 8 seasons, good or bad, to present probably the most compelling television series of the modern age. This is the show. You know, this is the biggest of the big until something else replaces it, which will probably be Stranger Things, because that show is huge, or maybe even Orange is the New Black this year. I have no idea. Both of those are polling very high with Netflix. But when it comes to the overall cultural conversation about pop culture in general, Game of Thrones is what tends to get looked at. It's what tends to get talked about the most. And quite frankly, it's a good show. It's a really good show. And I, for one, am sad that we'll no longer see the Adventures of Tyrion. Just putting that out there. But here's what else it ended up getting nominated for. It got nominated for Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Lead Actress with Emilia Clarke, Outstanding Lead Actor Kit Harington, Outstanding Supporting Actor Alfie Allen, Nicolaj Coster-Waldau, I mispronounced that, I apologize. And Peter Dinklage. Outstanding Supporting Actress with Gwendolyn Christie, Lena Headey, Sophie Turner, and Maisie Williams. Outstanding Guest Actress, Carice Van Houten, as well as a slew of technical categories. And the thing is, I think it's deserving of the Emmys. I don't know about the acting. I'll be fair. I will be 100% fair. But when it comes to the technical side of things, holy shit, you have not seen a show do that on television before. As much as I enjoyed watching the episodes, I even more enjoyed going into the full behind-the-scenes documentaries that HBO put out for like every single episode, especially The Bells. They have a 40-minute behind-the-scenes making of that they put on YouTube the next day that takes you through all the practical effects, the pyrotechnic effects, the CG effects, how they did certain things, how they built certain things up, interviews with the cast and the crew. It was really good. Like, I'm a behind-the-scenes junkie. I love to see how that stuff works. And I really felt that they did a great job in trying to show you what went into the destruction of King's Landing, all the visual effects, all the layers, and how they made it look as good as they did for television. I mean, granted, it's premium cable, so one could argue that they've got the larger budgets, but, you know, HBO, they didn't skimp. Hell, even Lena Headey got paid like $1 million to sit there and sip wine. If I could get paid $1 million to sit here and drink, bang, I totally would. Cherry limeade. No, it's actually really good. Anyway, the show is worthy of the Emmys, of the noms. One of them, though, is a little bit odd to me. One of them is a little bit odd, and that is the fact that it's getting nominated for Best Writing for the series finale, The Iron Throne, which I will admit arguably was not the strongest episode of the season. I felt the strongest episode of the season was episode 2, The Long Night. I felt that, which one? The one leading up to the Battle of Winterfell. I think that was like The Long Night, or whatever it's called. But I feel that, to me, was the best written episode because that was nothing but character scenes, giving us goodbyes to certain characters, setting things up for the end, and really, really, really giving compelling performances. That, to me, is the best episode of the season. I really, really, really like it. That being said, The Iron Throne, I don't get why that is the one that they submitted. And I don't quite know if Dan and Dave submitted it themselves or if HBO or whatever company, Warner Brothers, submitted it on their behalf. And it's entirely possible. But the way that it generally tends to work is that they have to pick something and submit for something. And that something is usually an accompanying for everything, so to speak. But I think it's kind of like when Peter Jackson won Best Director in 2004 for Return of the King. Was Return of the King the best of the Lord of the Rings films? No, that's Fellowship, hands down. Fellowship is the best. Fellowship he should have won for, and he didn't win. So the Academy just kind of gave him the Best Director award as kind of a, here you go. You know, I mean, didn't Steven Spielberg like lose Schindler's List as best film or best director back in '94, and that he got it for Saving Private Ryan? You know, they just kind of give it. This is the way that the system works. Is like, I think they nominated Game of Thrones for all those Emmys, not specifically just for this season, but for probably like all of it, all of the show and its contribution to the entertainment industry. At least that's my particular take on it. You could think differently, and that is okay. But I'm curious to know your thoughts. I'm curious to know your opinions. And if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and type GOT in the chat so I know. And if you see me at Comic-Con this weekend, please say hello. I cannot wait to meet you. Have yourself a great day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.